This is the hardest video I've ever had to make. I have made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm just here to apologize. I play games with an inverted y-axis. To those of you who might try and defend my actions, please don't. Just let me try and explain myself. So let me take it back for a second. The year is 1997 or 96. I don't really remember. I was like 4. So after what must have been a banging Christmas, I went up to see a strange plastic box sitting on the carpet in front of my TV with an equally strange Trident of a controller attached to it. These strange, colorful buttons and phallic-like joystick haphazardly slapped into the center of it in defiance of God and everything. Gone were the familiar gray and blue buttons of my Super Nintendo, replaced with this new, exciting contraption. I flipped on the power switch, and what happened would change my life forever.
It's me, Mario!
Games presented in a way I've never seen them before, never imagined possible with my small child brain. This new console took games that looked like this and made them look like this. It had the absolutely stunning ability to turn Yoshi from this into this. And I mean, game-changing. These super cool 3D graphics didn't just introduce a new world of visuals, but a new world of mechanics, and games that were underwhelming or impossible in a 2D space now took over the market, and a huge part of them were flight games. Aero Fighters, Volkswagen Racing, and Star Wars Rogue Squadron dominated my console to the point where the copy of Rogue Squadron actually broke because we played it so much. So what do all these games have in common? One simple rule that would mold my impressionable mind for years to come: an inverted y-axis. If you want to go up, you pull the stick back. If you want to go down, you push the stick up. An alien concept that no doubt led to a fair share of unplanned landings and poorly rendered mountainsides, but as time went on, I learned. I adapted, and most games on the N64 not having a dual axis layout, I mean, there were some, but my mommy really wouldn't let me buy them, and I was like 5, what kind of resources did I have to get any? But these were the games that taught me how to look in a 3D space. That's not a joke, by the way. There really was an N64 game that was basically Mario Kart meets Twisted Metal with 1998 Volkswagen Beetles. And the craziest part is it was actually really good. So fast forward to 2002. I got some more years on me. I'm no rookie to the third dimension on my third channel. That's also a really old joke. I wonder how many people are going to get that. And the plastic square on my floor has been swapped out for this plastic cube. Only now the controller is only like a halfway abomination. And that little gray dongly bit, well, now there's 2 of them, and one's smaller and yellow. And now Yoshi looks like this, which I mean, let's be honest, that is better. But now that I'm a much wiser 9-year-old, I was able to con and bad boy my way into obtaining a copy of a T-rated game, Time Splitters 2. I know, wild. But something very important happened in that game. It came with an inverted look as the default. By going into the menus and hitting invert aim on, it would actually make it what people consider today as normal. Now, I'm not saying that Time Splitters 2 should be used as the gold standard for controls in a first-person shooter, but I mean, it really was a fun game. Me and my brother, who also suffers from this disability, who would spend hours in custom games trying to beat the campaign on hard, getting platinum trophies and all the arcade challenges. This was a little bit before online multiplayer became standard on consoles, so we really had to make our own fun. And even so, we must have logged a couple hundred hours onto that game. But then something strange happened. More first-person shooters found their way to my screen: Metroid Prime, Jedi Academy, Call of Duty, and thus became the tradition of booting up a game, walking into an opening set piece, and promptly shooting my gaze to the sky before hopping into the menu and changing the look inversion to on. And by that point, the trend was clear. Whatever damage from my formative years I had, it stuck with me. And any hopes of me living a normal life were crushed, even as far back as 2002. I actually remember trying my hardest to play Call of Duty with non-inverted controls just because it came as standard, and I felt nauseous as I painstakingly tried to kick myself out of the habit, and an overwhelming sense of relief as I flipped the inversion back on and ran around naturally. For better or for worse, I was stuck. Now roll up to 2007. The plastic cube has been replaced with a plastic circle. Yoshi looks like this, and if you're walking into my room, you're probably hearing this. I remember Halo 3 did this thing that some games would do, where in the tutorial you would have to look at the lights in the pod somewhere, and the game would actually be able to tell if you needed your controls inverted. And while that was a huge convenience, it wouldn't really help me prepare for the adversity that was to come. See, online gaming was such a big thing, you would think I could just hide in my room and keep this affliction hidden to myself, but as more of my friends started playing games online, the more gaming became intertwined with my social life. Weekends were not to be spent on Xbox Live playing Halo, they were meant for crowding in a basement and passing the controller around the room, trading off after games, after deaths, each time the controller getting closer and closer, my heart rate climbing until finally it got past to me. I pressed start, tab over to the controls, toggle the invert y-axis. Some people were shocked, others didn't know how to respond, some didn't notice. But as I played, the memory seemingly faded from their minds. My performance was no different from theirs, pretty decent if I say so myself. But as my game came to an end, I handed off the controller to the next gamer in line, who sat unaware of the horrors to come. The timer clicked down, the map loaded in, he took a step, and promptly shifted his aim to the floor. The ensuing curses and slurs tossed at me would no doubt lower me in the YouTube algorithm, so I won't discuss them here, but needless to say, people were not happy. I remember it always being such a weird feeling to me. My whole life I'd grown up playing with my brother, passing back the controller, and never really encountered this issue of swapping the controls once, but I honestly can't think of a single friend of mine who played with the inverted y-axis back in the day. I was alone, forced to endure the adversity of my friend's abuse, even to this day. What's strange is that on a mouse and keyboard for first-person shooters, my aim isn't inverted, but for third-person games, it is. I only really started playing PC games around 2013, and even then I started with stuff like Hotline Miami or Faster Than Light, where the inversion never really comes into play, and switching to a first-person shooter, it just made sense to move your aim with a mouse, but swap to third-person, my brain just wants to swap the way I drag the mouse. Maybe it's just more evidence that my brain's broken and playing inverted really is the wrong way, but like I said, I'm not here to make excuses for myself, I'm just trying to explain where I'm coming from. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it really makes sense. If you want to look up, then you push up. Not everything's a flight simulator where pulling back makes you go up. I mean, even in like VR games, if you want to look up, you tilt your head. Oh wait. To look up, you tilt your head back. To look down, you tilt your head forward, but that's inverted. That's just the right way to play. Flipping it would be absolutely nauseating, vomit-inducing even. That's how I feel all the time watching you play your non-inverted controls, like some kind of monkey slapping at the buttons. You think you're better than me? You are nothing. You are zero. You are a black hole. You played VR before? You're one of us. We're everywhere. There's nothing you can do to stop us. I will stop you at nothing until this whole world is inverted. I want you standing on the ceiling as God as my witness. I promise you will put my socks on after you. There's nothing you can do.
I'm finished.